All right, Shalom. Call y'all about Shem Shah. And Shalom to the black. Before I open up this Bible Hub link on it, I just happened to see this when I typed it in. Now it says U.S. Special Operations dropped a 2,000-pound bomb on Syria's largest dam in 2017, despite the fact it was on a no-strike list. And see, that's how Esau get down. These Edomites over here, those Russians, they also Edomites too. Just a different house, so to speak. Like, yeah, the house of Edom, then you got the house of Tema, Amalek, so to speak. Let's see. These other countries, they getting fed up with the nonsense that they actually doing and pushing around the world. And they making alliances. And this third woke is coming real quick. And this does sound repetitive. Just to warn people, like, hey, you know, you have like false teachers, false leaders, or whatever. Let's see what to put. They'll tell you that things gonna be all right. Which after this happened, and the smoke clear, stuff is gonna be all right. But they never warn you about the stuff that's gonna happen before things be all right. And let me get this other preset. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 2. Let me see. Yeah, book of Ezekiel, chapter 2, verse 10. But yeah, I started verse 9. But yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, verse 8. It says, "But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee, be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house." Because most people, they don't want to hear this, talk about this type of stuff. I do it all the time, trying to talk about this information. People take it as a joke. They think it ain't gonna happen. They want to play little games. Like I heard somebody say, "Oh, I'm gonna buy me a ticket to Mars," and, you know, just little silly shit like that. It says, "Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee." And when I looked, and behold, a hand was sent to me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. It says, "And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. And there was written therein lamentations, mourning, and woe." Because there's some good in this book. You know, people say, "Oh, the good book," but they forget about the lamentations, mourning, and woe. And part of that woe is this woe right here. It's coming up, this third woe. I'm gonna let this video play, and I'll post some more presets.
They demand that we take our own troops deployed on our own territory and send them back to the barracks. Meanwhile, the US, Canada and the UK have virtually a permanent presence in the Baltic states and in Northern Europe. In general, they pretend it's on a rotation basis, but it's all a smokescreen. The British have established naval bases in Ukraine, in the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. Russia is not happy with that. We find it completely unacceptable. You ask why the issue has become so urgent today. Well, let's not mince words. It's because the West is clearly overreaching. They've been acting in violation of all of their obligations, disregarding common sense. Essentially, they've launched a campaign to try and escalate the situation. 7 years ago, the EU demolished all relevant mechanisms, including those aimed at discussing practical aspects of international security. Now that we've approached the US and NATO, with the latter, we still have the Russia-NATO Council, if only on paper. And the NATO-Russia Founding Act is still intact too. When it comes to the EU, on the other hand, all communication channels have been shut down completely by our European partners. This is a question you should bring up with Josep Borrell and the EU member states. As for the prospect of establishing separate dialogue channels with the EU, independent of NATO or the US, well, that's actually up to the US and NATO. I'm not sure they're willing to give Europe a modicum of freedom in that aspect. We do not worry too much about who will handle negotiations if this endeavour is spearheaded by the United States. It is they who shape security policy in Europe and other parts of the world, for that matter. After all, NATO is now actively staking its claims elsewhere. As I said, the ball is in the EU's court. We've not cut our ties with them. And you know that we talked with Josep Borrell last year. We're ready to keep the communication going. It all depends on whether he'll be allowed to resume dialogue with the Russian Federation and how meaningful the issues they might raise will be.
Очень надеюсь, что больше не придется.
See, look, I said, that's all you see when you look through the news, when you actually pay attention to what's going on. It says Ukraine, neither Biden or Putin slip of the tongue. They said they can't afford to lose their standoff. So, you know, that pride that Esau got, and I was trying to find this other clip again, I just showed it. Go to that real quick. Because on the so-called world stage, somebody got to be the big dog. Somebody got to be the top. And somebody got to answer to the top. And neither one of these powers, they're not trying to answer to nobody. That's all you see, man. You know, you got all this other nonsense in the list, which is just folly. For real. Let's see if I can find it again. It might be all the way at the end. If not, you just rewind the video I should say, is right in the front. But yeah, them dropping them bombs and doing all that stuff on these different nations. Like the scripture say right here in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 16, it says, thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. No thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. All that stuff they done did around the earth deceive them because they feel like they could just, like the clip I showed at the beginning of this video, give them the authority to go just drop a bomb on somebody's area. It's supposed to be a no strike zone, but they just gonna do it anyway. That's that pride. And now these other nations, they done geared up, done linked up, and don't actually bypass them on certain weaponry. Mr. Most High put the spirit on them to do that. Let me go to that. It's in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54 and verse 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. Let's go to that word smith real quick. What does a smith do? It says it's a worker at metal. Let's see, we got some more definitions. It said denoting a person skilled in creating something with a specified material. In this case, this specified material right here is nuclear warheads. Now it says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. They ain't creating no weapon, but they ain't creating no material to go build hospitals and all the other stuff. They're talking about destroying something in this precept. And what it's trying to destroy? Babylon. That's what that object was created for. I'm trying to see real quick if I can find some other definitions. See, I ain't never typed in like this. Let me see what pop up. And artificial and brass and iron. Let's see. I ain't gonna put too much of it. I just want to try to make this video as quick as possible. get straight to the point. Let me see. There's some more definitions. You can research and pull this up too as well. As you should. Now, let me read it again. It says, Behold, I created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and I bring forth an instrument for his work, and I created the waster to destroy. And that's what's about to happen. That's why you see this all over the news. Most of the events, I've just been sitting back just watching, paying attention, you know, doing my day-to-day stuff, seeing what's really going on around the world. And what do you know? Here you go with this.
Don't have to do anything of the kind ever again, but we have to keep our powder dry, so to speak. That's how the Russian proverb goes. God forbid something like that should happen. But we're doing everything to prevent it, including through the relevant CSTO bodies. But if, God forbid, something happens, we must be ready, because there have been enough attempts to undermine the situation in Central Asia and other CSTO countries from the outside. These attempts, in fact, have become much more brazen, daring and dangerous after the Americans fled Afghanistan along with the rest of the NATO troops, leaving the country in the state we see it now, a nation that has to rebuild its statehood. We're dead set against having the North Atlantic Alliance right on our doorstep. All the more so considering the course pursued by the Ukrainian leadership, both the former and the current one, unfortunately. Moreover, this is a red line. It really is, and they know it. Another thing I'd like to point out is that even if Ukraine doesn't join NATO, it could still sign bilateral agreements with the United States or the UK or any other Western power capable of building military infrastructure there.
And that's what they want to do. See, Most High putting the spirit on these other Edomites from the house of Tima over there. Go to this preset real quick. See, the Most High been putting the spirit on this warlike spirit. I'll go back to the book of Ezekiel too after this one. And they actually ready to go to war. They got that arsenal, man. When they keep doing the count, which you know, ain't nobody gonna really get an exact number, but when they give a rough estimate, they up there, man. They ain't been fucking around. They ain't playing around. Let's see. All right, it's in the book of Revelation, chapter 16, and verse 13. It says, And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. And they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Yahweh Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. But this gonna catch people off guard. Anybody think about this for real? Like I say, I go around, and I'm sure other Akim do it too. Ask people how they, see how long do they see this nation lasting, or what they think the expiration date is, or what do they think about these war scenarios with the situation with Iran and Israel, or the U.S. and China and Taiwan situation, or the U.S. and the Ukraine and the Russia situation. And most people, they not hip, man. They're not paying no attention. That's why I say, behold, I come as a thief, because this is some real crafty type stuff, like low key. You wouldn't really expect it unless you're really watching videos, of you researching, or if you're reading your scriptures and lining up current events, prophetic words, so to speak. And I say, blessed is he that watcheth. So you want to be blessed, you need to watch. And it says, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together in a place called, in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. And them going over in this region, it's just them moving the military troops at all these different locations. Let me go to this one now. See. Even though this further east, but they're not gonna go directly over there. They want to try to use this location to go directly over there, but it's right here in this region. Got the Black Sea right there, the Caspian Sea. Let me scroll down some more. You see, the Most High is the ultimate orchestrator. He put a spirit on these heathens. That's why, you hear Akim say, we don't have to take up arms. It's a spiritual battle. We doing the spiritual groundwork. The Most High gonna sit in that real Space Force. And people been seeing the angels. They ain't like nobody seen them. They've been seeing the chariots flying around. They've been seeing the different stuff like that. So when all these nations are actually gathered over here, like the scripture in the second Ezra mentions, they basically gonna be turned into dust. They basically gonna be non-existent once they try to go to war with the Lord, with Michael and all the other angels. So we ain't gotta go take up no arms. Ain't gotta form no militias and no black power groups and all that shit to try to go up against Esau. Because the Most High got Esau in a fucking trick bag. He allowed them to get to a certain point, dig themselves a pit, like the scriptures say. Those who dig a pit should surely fall into it. They dug themselves a pit. Now these other heathens, they don't got the same technology and arsenal that they got just to take them up out of here. And the ones that ain't over here getting took out, they get left over here. In this region of the world, near the east, they gonna get took out by the Lord, Michael, and the angels, like they mentioned in the book of Revelation, and I'll get that in a minute. Let me see. The book of Revelation, chapter 12. In verse 7 it says, and there was a war in heaven. Now, you have some scholars or whatever, they'll read this and think that Satan and Lucifer was fighting with the Lord. No, that's not what it's talking about. Everything is in order. You got your angels on the right side, and you got your angels or your so-called dark angels or demons on the left side. And ain't nobody going off. Ain't nobody trying to throw a coup and go pull the Most High off his throne. That's not what's going on. Now it says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. You know what happened in that scenario? Let's go to the next precept. It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. So that Space Force, Air Force, all that military shit ain't gonna be nowhere in existence. I'm gonna go to the second Ezra to get into what I'm thinking about it. Look at second Ezra chapter 13. With the whole clip. Now second Ezra chapter 13 of verse 6, it says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. It ain't talking about no actual Cheyenne mountain or nothing like that. It's talking about one of those chariots. That's how big they be, like a mountain. I've seen some personally, and they definitely be big like that. Now it says, and flew up upon it, that I would have seen the region, the place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. After this, I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him. Going back to this. I appreciate me going back. Them being gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat for what is it?